Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from whenever you're calling in from. You're welcome to yet another week. This is, in my opinion, going to be one of the most amazing week because we saw some good setups last week. Some of the pairs we were waiting for to break out of their consolidation, so we saw them break out. So we're really looking forward to a good week this week. But before we begin, I'd like to take us to the news so that we can just see what we have this week. Like we know, news pretty much just also determines what's going to happen in the market as well. Fundamentals is also part of the determinants of movement in the market. So right now, as you can see, um, on Monday, Sunday, Monday, there's really no much activity happening. So the only place we'll see some form of high impact news is here on Monday here, just for the GPP. And whatever, if I go to investing.com, like I say, I don't think there's it's a high impact news this week. So on Monday as well, there's really nothing. Hope I'm looking at the same dates. This is 12th. Yep, this is 12th. So as you can see, it's really interesting because there's no high impact news here. Hope I have the right time zone. Let me confirm that. Okay, yeah, I do. So there's no high impact news anywhere around here. Again, the importance of looking at the two news bodies just to confirm, to make sure you have the accurate information. So I think on Wednesday we have some bank holidays, but it may not affect every other pairs. It's just Euro, French bank holiday, Italian bank holiday. So, but before then, we have the AUD news. I know some of us that are looking at AUD, the GBP AUD, the Euro AUD, and probably the AUD USD. So just know that that may affect your trade. GBP again on. Okay, I think we have a number of GBP news this week. We have one here on Wednesday. We have one on Tuesday. Then we have USD news as well, 12 p.m. and also in 2 p.m. 2:30 as well. So just be on the lookout for those. Thursday, another news. So I'm just gonna go through them. Investing.com doesn't give us a lot of news indications, so you could just cross check. Do the look at it by yourself. Just go to the two news bodies and just find out. Especially for those of us that trade news, just look at the two news bodies and just find out where you have your high impact news, and then use that as your guide. Because I don't want to go through them one after the other, so I don't make this recording too long. But that said, I go straight to the dollar, like I normally do. As you can see, yeah, yes, I forget. This is I'm using my Apple, so I hope my MacBook, sorry, my Mac computer. So I hope the resolution is good enough. I had to change the settings to make it a bit wider, so I hope you can see clearly. So right now we can see. I know we were waiting for this level. I had to redraw most of my charts on this new computer, this other computer, because my old computer is now out for repairs, so I had to re-chart everything from the beginning. So I did this one today again. So this was the level we were looking at for an inverse head and shoulder. As you can see, it broke out of that level, sweet breakout. So right now if I drop down to, because I'm just looking at it right now, if I drop down to the maybe 4 hour, I can clearly see that that's retest that I was waiting for. This retest may actually be this. So this may actually be that retest. So it's probably done that. So what I would be waiting for, I may not necessarily be waiting for this to come back to retest this low anymore. Probably some form of pullback is what I'll be looking for at this point, so that this can keep going to the upside. You understand what I mean? Because if I consider this to be the retest breakout, remember how we trade, it has to be a breakout and a retest of the low. Then, but again, that said, doesn't mean that there's no possibility of it coming back to retest here like we saw the initial, like we initially expected it. So if that happens, no worries. If we if we let me see how many pips has already been moved. It's already gone 144 pips, so quite all right, not a problem. So just make sure you don't enter on the high. Make sure you get a good pullback before. If it pulls back to this point, if you get it, that's not a bad place to get in. That's only 65 pips. So your stop loss will probably be somewhere around here. The low of this place here. That is where your stop loss is going to be. But be on the lookout. I'm saying that because you know how it is. The euro dollar and the GBP dollar as well, they would have inverse movements with inverse correlation with the dollar. So just be on the lookout. When we go there, you see it. Oh, I don't think I marked up the euro dollar, but I'll probably just do that briefly. So this is what we see. I know that when we go to the euro dollar, we would see exactly the same thing, but on the reverse case. So if this is an inverse head and shoulder, we expect the target to be somewhere around here, because it's the measure of this difference between this place, these two lines, the head and the what's it now? The head and the what's it called? The neckline. Okay, so straight up to what we have today, the other pairs. Now, what I wanted to mention again to us is there's so much importance when you of looking at things from the higher time frame. Then it pretty much just gives you the full picture. Like, look at, I did this today. What I did is notice that when price came to this point, it bounced, came back to this point, it bounced. So that means it's a key point. So that means it came back here. Did you notice it came back to that zone and then bounced? So this was a bounce. So in my opinion, this may actually go back up eventually. It may not come as low as this area, and I wouldn't know. I can't really tell. But because something like that happened, it came all the way to this level before falling back to that level. So this may do the same thing. It may just even be falling to this level, or it may just go up a little bit more before coming back down. But no, whatever be the case, we don't trade based on we trade based on confirmation. When we get confirmation, we take a trade. So that said, on the weekly, we can see that we had that trend line, came here, bounced, came here, bounced, came here, bounced. So now it broke that trend line. So we traded it, but some of us that started trading this, we traded that. Let me see if I have any retest. Yep, consider this a retest. So that's a retest. Came in, retested and dropped. Then did another pullback, dropped. Did another pullback, dropped. Now it's doing another pullback. So where are we looking at for this to get to? This is the level we're looking for this to get to. So just be on the lookout of that 139,717 or 700 or whatever, 7100. Or 710 or whatever. Let me see. I call this 710. Let me see how far to go. The reason why I like to do that is because they are 770. They are called psychological level. Yeah, 139,700 or 1400. Or whatever. They are psychological levels. They are levels where people all over the world will be looking at as well, maybe looking at. So that's 139,700 is a key level to be on the lookout for, because you see what happened. Price broke out of there, retested and bounced, came back to that level and bounced. So now it's coming back to that. It needs to get to that level. So from there we can now begin to decide what we want to do. If we're going to see a bounce again to that top, or we're going to see a breakout. So that's going to determine what we do with this trade. We're going to see a breakout of that zone, then we expect a retest. When we get a retest, and where are we going to this next level here? That's why you remember, that's how you create your levels, to make sure that you find where your price will turn back from, and also prevent yourself from jumping in and out of trades. Right now we have 400 pips on this one here. Right now there's no other reason for us to jump in and out of this trade, except if it breaks out, except if it breaks above it. So if I'm gonna pretty much just wait and look for an entry from the top. That way, even though price gets to this point and it's reversing, I won't really be bothered. I know that I'm in a good place. So unless it breaks above that, then I'll be concerned. But if I enter at this point, probably get a good entry on my 1 hour 15 minutes. If I enter at this point, then I would, on no reason, there would be no reason for me to jump out if I start seeing a pullback. My TP will be here, my stop loss will be previous high, probably look for that. Now it's going to be difficult because there's nothing here, but where you will find the previous high will be based on what will be created here. Nothing is created right now, but if you wanted to do it, if it just comes down straight, or your previous high will be this one here, that will be your you wouldn't want to take this one because that's too high. Probably take this one. So for this one, we're looking for a bounce because of that bounce we found here. Bounce. So if we feel it's a key level, so we're waiting for this to bounce and go back to this level, or this trend line here that we created. Remember what we know now. When the price breaks out of trend line, normally this is what it does. It comes back and retests that trend line, or wherever it is that it's breaking out of, before eventually falling. That is what we see. We expect to happen every time. But so if that may be what is going to happen in this case, breakout, retest. So this may actually go back to retest that zone, that trend line that they broke out of, for a downward movement eventually, or may just come in and break it, and then, but you already know what you're doing. So you drop, once you do this on the higher time frame, you can then drop to the lower time frame and look for an entry, so you don't miss the trade. So that's GBP, JPY. Of course, when it breaks that level, you know that you're coming back to this level. If it breaks that level, you're coming down to this level, and that's why it also create the upside. So if it breaks above that, you know that you're coming to this level. If it breaks above that, you may not get to this level. Know that you still have this level, you still have that level as well. So put that into consideration. Okay, the next one is Euro odd. Euro odd, again on the higher time frame. What are we noticing? So it's where price broke out of here, came back, we expected it, came back, retested, drop, and then dropped further, then came back and just broke it and retested it, bounced, retested it, bounced, and came back and retested it, bounced again. So we are saying that eventually when it bounced, it got to this level and dropped, got to this level, and so we're expecting, look at this, it got to this level, dropped, got to this level and dropped. So we expected this to be that drop. That's why we decided to trade it. So we're taking it from this level, we're trading right now, we're selling this market right now. So that's where we are. We're between this level and this level. Now if you drop to your smaller time frame, you can see things more clearly. Right now on the week, let me go down to the daily, you can see that head and shoulder forming right now. You can see that trend, bounce, came to test it, 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 bounce. So two things are forming here. So what happened? It broke out of it and then retested. That's why we created this level for it. So it could either test that or test this. So it retested that level and now it's dropping. If you drop even further, you would see what they call a channel, a consolidation box created. So this was what it did. It did this for many months. It did this for many months eventually, and then broke out of it. So that's why we took this trade. So now you know the rules. Now price will always come back and retest his zone when it breaks out of it. Yeah, so that's what happened. For some of us that were in it and we're wondering why we had that massive pullback. Price will always do that. It's standard. Well, let me not say always, most times we expect that to happen. So price will break out of a zone, we always come back and retest that zone, so this is probably what happened right now. So we have that zone where it bounced off from. So right now, if you're to trade this already, it has come down. You don't need to jump into this trade at the moment. You still have a long way to go. So you have like 900, 600 pips, 400 pips or thereabout. How many pips did this give us already? Some of us are just entered. This gave us 100 plus. Yep, 100 plus pips. So we still have 500 plus, 500 more, 400 more to go on this upside. Remember, we are dealing with the head and shoulder. So we need the left shoulder to finish forming. So when the left shoulder finishes forming, then we still have the measurement, the TP. So we're trying to take advantage of two things. But some people don't want to do that. They just want to wait till the left shoulder finishes forming to take advantage. This is quite risky, to be honest, really. But sometimes, scared money is not how do they put it? Scared money is not win money. I don't know how they put it, but yeah, sometimes just look for good entries, good confirmations, and take a trade. You don't have to be afraid of trades, as long as you have your stop loss in place. Remember, it's not that one trade that really matters. It's a number of trades, consistency. So right now I'm here, I'm waiting for this to break out of this. So if that breaks out of this breaks out, I'm going to expect another retest of that zone. Please, I'm going to take the lowest, this lowest one. I could put my sell limit here and put another one here. So it really depends because the levels are not too far apart. So the next thing I'm going to expect is for that to come all the way down here. So that's my bias for this one. It's going to come. So once it comes all the way, so all of these things, all these levels that you're seeing, I will not really be, well, I would pay attention because like I said, it's not the complete head and shoulder yet, so anything can happen. But if I want to be bold, I'll probably just leave this level. I won't really be bothered about this level. Let my trade run, and then when it comes to this level, I could TP and then look for another opportunity to enter, so I can now start taking my 900 pips that I'm waiting for on that side. So that's Euro odd. So going to GBP USD. Again, from the monthly, you can see price. A number of these GBP pairs just look quite similar, so right now we see that move, broke down to this level, and then jumped back up, and then it's coming back down. So right now you already know where price is going to. You see price, this is where price is at this point, and it's breaking this. So I'm of the opinion that it may actually break this and then come all the way down here before beginning to have reaction to go back up. But that said, I wouldn't jump in based on that mindset. I would only jump in based on confirmation. So right now, this is what price is doing right now. It's trying to break. It has broken this level. So I would, on the next candle forming, this is a close below. Is a good sign. Is a close below. That means that that's a good opportunity for us to start looking for a sell. But we won't find a sell until we see a confirmation. So how do you find your confirmation? Make sure the next candle breaks out of it and probably get a good retest of that zone. Get a good breakout. And then possibly a retest, and then you can ride it all the way down here again, because that's where you see your key. Maybe this one here. This one is a good place to also look at as well. The way this GBP behaves, I don't really trade it that much anyway, except when I see some good opportunities to jump in. So you could just use that as your guide. Trade here, and trade here. Let me see how many pips apart they have. So from here to here, you see that's 100 plus. So that's not bad, to be honest, really. Yeah, that's 200. So you could just do that, just get a retest of that level, a good confirmation, can drop down to your 1 hour, or right now you can see what's forming. You can see that pullback forming. So that could be your own opportunity. You can see the same things happening here. See the same things happening here. So that's pretty much what's happening right now. Same thing. Yep. You can see that. So that's what's happening right now. So just wait for that clear breakout so you can trade it to that downside. Take your 100 pips. If it breaks that, take another 200, and then you'll be done for the week. So just go back to my daily. So this is where we are at right now. GBP, sorry, AUD USD. AUD USD is a trade that I've been looking at for, see that consolidation. We've been trading this, but for some reason it just got stuck in this consolidation. So again, higher time frame, you can clearly see it. This is the level. Price got there. Price broke out of it, retested it, and went to the moon. Came back and kind of tested it and jumped, but was strong enough to be able to break it. So broke it, retested it, and what did you see? It fell. It fell to this level, jumped, fell again, jumped, and it's been going up in in that that level for quite some time. Then it broke above, and as you can see it created a trend. It came back, came to that level, bounced, back to that level, bounced, came back to that level, bounced, came back to that level, bounced. And then what did he do? Next time he came back to that level, was strong enough to be able to break it. So he broke that level. And what did you see it do? Normally you understand the patterns. Let me make this more so you can see that clearly. Bounce, bounce, bounce. 1, 2, 3. So on the fourth one, this 3, 4 thing doesn't always hold. Doesn't mean because it's tested it 3 times will always break on the fourth one. Not every time. So don't write all of your strategy around that mindset. Sometimes it does it 5 times. Sometimes it does it 6 times. So, but just have other form of confirmation before you take a trade. So as you can see, it broke out of it, then clearly came back and retested and dropped massively. That was a massive drop. Let me see how many pips that was. I think we got some of the moves, but just that it came all the way to 200 plus pips. Yep. So when that happened and it got stuck in that consolidation, as you can see now, it's breaking out of that consolidation. So like the other ones we looked at, remember that one we looked at, it broke out of that consolidation, came back and retested. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. So don't just jump in, just wait for that retest to happen. It's broken out of it already. So wait for that retest to occur. And when that happens, then you can trade it back to the downside here, and then when it breaks out of there, you're taking it back to this level that it's been to before. There's a clear indication that it will come down there. So, but how many pips altogether if we are to trade it? Let me see the first one here. If I pick it all the way from here, that's 100 plus, not so bad, 160. Then from there, maybe 200 here. So yeah, that's 250. So not so bad. So yep, be on the lookout for AUD USD. It's broken out of that trend. What you're waiting for now is a retest of that level. So it may not just keep coming down. It may come back immediately, retest, or it may just come down a bit before going back up. But so don't enter in the middle, unless you're scalping, then you could drop down to your 15 minutes and just look for entry opportunities, maybe some form of, I don't know, a golfing can do to just stick to the upside, to the downside. But I'm not looking to what's it called, to scalp now. Yeah, I'm not looking to scalp this. So GBP AUD. Similar to what you saw in AUD, sorry, Euro AUD. I should find a name for this, guys. Euro AUD. So as you can see, on the higher time frame again, let me take that. Pretty much looks like GBP USD that we looked at earlier. So higher time frame, can see price and that level came down to that level and bounced off after breaking it, broke out, tested, drop, tested, drop, then eventually broke out of it and never came back until this level, came back and retested it and then bounced, kept bouncing, and hasn't come back from it in a while. So now it's trying to come back to it. So, but as it's doing that, it's creating a trend. So that bounce, test bounce, came back to it, bounce, came back to it. As you can see this one, how many times did it test it? 3 times. Only twice. What am I saying? Only once even. It did it, came back to it once. It came back to it, then retested it. And okay, if I want to be, let me just be generous, then I'll maybe do this. Yeah, probably if I do that, then but me, I love my weeks. I don't just let I don't play with my weeks. I let my weeks carry my trade. So maybe I could just do that to just be so to make the rule apply. So came to it, then retested 1, retested 2, and on the third one it broke out of it on the third one. Unlike this other one, let me see this one. This one, how many times did he? Okay, this one did tested once, tested 2. Let me see on the higher time frame. If just trying to make sure that rule works now. I can't call this is one test. So tested 1, tested 2, broke out, unless people want to count this as your first test. So you see, so it really depends on what you want to do. Let me see this other one as well. All of these things are testing. You have to test, do what they call back testing to see what works. So right now for me, how many tests do I have here? I have 1. Let me see here. I have 1. I have 1. Can I consider this a test? No. I have 2. This didn't go up before test. This is my classified as 1. So this is my third test. On the third test, it broke. GBP. No, not that one. This one. What do I have? Okay, this one had 1. Okay, maybe you can call this 2 because because if I put it in so this one is a good one because you can say this one did it 3 times. If you want to put it like that, you can say this did it 3 times, retested 3 times. So 1, 2, 3 on the third one it broke. So that may be some of us that use that rule. So that's what that it doesn't work every time. Okay, GBP AUD. Now test. Broke out of it, and then what did you see? Came back and retested that key structure where, remember what it did, came there, dropped, came there, dropped, and broke it, and came back to it, jumped, then broke it, it will come back and retest Confluence, remember? So broke out of that trend and also retested that key structure zone. And what did you see it do? It broke out. Now this was a false breakout. This was a false breakout. Good thing we didn't get tricked by this one. So now I would expect this not to be a false breakout because it broke out of that level it got to before. So this now, remember the rule, break out of a zone, come back and retest. So I would believe this to be a retest. So now this is what I'm expecting this to do, get to that level. Maybe it might just turn back here and then drop further. So maybe that, hey, no, like touching my zones. Let me see if I can get it back. Okay, so yep. So that's that one. Let me see how many I'm looking at. That's 300 plus. So I need that to come down. And then if it breaks, you can see, excuse me, please. Excuse me, noise on the background so much. Sorry guys, just needed to just quiet the background a bit. All right, now you can see we have that measured move, top to neck, and then this is the full move of that and as you can see, it fell within a key structure zone. So all of that, if we can get that move all the way from here to this level, that's 800, almost 900 move plus move. So I want that to work out. Now it's a very fantastic move. Why do I call this a very fantastic move? We can see the first first shoulder, second shoulder, and we can see the breakout and retest. So Confluence, two things. Broke out of a zone, retested that zone, with the head and shoulder rule of breakout that price needs to break out of the neck line and then retest that neckline. So two things, as a confirmation for us. So now look for an entry. Now let me see how many pips this has gone already. So let me see if this has already gone like 69 pips, So if I jump in on this trade, it means, and it decides to go back up, means I'm going to have a drawdown of almost 70 pips, because it means your stop loss is going to be somewhere around here. This is where your stop loss would be, So if you jump in right now, this is your stop loss. If you jump in on this trade, this is your stop loss, 300 pips. So you don't want to do that. So just wait to get, if price is going to keep moving down, then you just need to get a good confirmation. How? By dropping down to your smaller time frame. So right now, this rejection right now showed a sign of this coming down. As you can see, it's already acting like it's going back up. So I would only enter this trade when I see a confirmation. And my own confirmation for me would be a break of this level right here. So see that level? Price needs to come, because that's the level it got to before bouncing back up. So I need to see price break this level and then retest it. So if I can get my retest on that level, then I can trade. I can enter my sell all the way to this level that I created, that 1.71650. Yep. So my stop loss will be better. I'll get a good risk to reward somewhere here. Yep. Maybe a little bit up there. Yep. So what would be my risk here? My risk would be how much? My risk will be 117. What will be my reward? My reward will be 270. So more than 2-to-1 risk to reward, which is really good, to be honest, really. So if you enter with a standard, that's like 1,000 to 2,000 plus. Yep. So not too bad. So that said, that's that one, GBP AUD. Next one is AUD JPY, sweet one as well. So let me see higher time frame. Where are we? Okay, I had some message, so I'm just gonna restrict it to this one now. Right now, look at what's happening. It's in this channel. Price broke out, came into it, did whatever it wants to do, broke out of it, and then came back to retest that zone. Then bounced off from there, and then came back, was so strong, broke it. Let me increase that. Broke it and then retested and dropped to that level. So it immediately entered into that level. It got trapped there, So it came to that level, retested and dropped to this level, Then from there bounced up to that level again, dropped again, bounced off, then dropped again, bounced off, then dropped again, bounced off, then dropped again. Right now, we are expecting two things to happen. I'm expecting this to break this zone. Yep. Expecting it again. Remember, I don't count the 3. It has hit 3 times, so it must bounce off now. I don't count that. That's another person's strategy. I don't count that, because I don't believe that happens. Now, listen, the truth is this. Every strategy will not work 100%, So I'm not saying my strategy is the best one. What I trade is the best one, but it's worked for me. That's why I can trust it. I've not tested every other strategy, but the ones that I've tested and used that have been working for me is what I believe in. That's what should be every trader's what's it called, cup of tea. Just find a strategy or 2 or 3 that you like, and then work on them effectively. Because the truth is this: there is no one strategy that is better than another. There's no one strategy that is almighty. Like this is the only strategy that you can use to win in the market all the time. Don't let anyone deceive you. There's nothing like that. Most of the other strategies are also good if you get the right kind of mindset, right kind of psychology, right kind of money management. You can trade with them and get away with good profit. But what is critical, what is key, is how you use it. How you test it and use it over time. Because we have millions of people, that are trading the forex markets, to be honest. So they are using these strategies, So whatever is working for certain people may not work for certain people. When you are seeing head and shoulder somewhere, some people may be seeing maybe not a reversal or whatever, So there's no one strategy that works every time. Whatever you pick up, if you want to use Fibonacci all the time, then back test it and make sure that Fibonacci like the back of your hand, so that you can easily use it anytime. It will work for you. But what is critical is money management, risk management, and psychology. That's what is going to make you entirely profitable in the market, not strategies. Yep. So that said, we're looking at this right now. If price breaks out of this, I'm going to take this down. Let me see what else is here. Oh, could you imagine? I didn't even create any low for this one. Now, what would be your target for this trade? For me, my target for this trade would be this, the length of this move, this consolidation. Remember how I do it, how I normally do. So that would be my target. My target would be the length of that move, this consolidation. Let me get that right. No. So that would be my target. So let me draw a line there, see where it falls under. Fell under a structural level. So that's telling me something that, okay, maybe that would be a good place to take my profit at. As you can see, it fell within that structure level, which is really good. This is really good, which is where price got to bounce. So it falls within that. Let me see how many pips that would be. Massive, I will tell you guys. That's really good. 360 pips. That's good enough, for a whole week. That's really good. So just be on the lookout for that move. If that happens, if it breaks to the downside, but if that doesn't happen, then we're going to see these rejects take place, like it's been doing. So we're going to see this reject take place, and then price is going to go back up. So for what I've been noticing, price has been stalling. It for how many weeks? You can notice it never got this high. By the way, this is one trade that we've been trading for some time. Some of us entered this one. I think I got this one. I got this one. Then when it was coming down, I was in there, but price came back, and I think it hit my stop loss or somewhere when this move happened, and then I missed it. I got out, and then I missed all of this. So I haven't got it. I didn't trade this one anymore. So right now, price may just go back to that triangle I broke out of, for a further drop. May just do that, may just do that, or maybe may just bound, take itself to that trend line again, just like we notice here. This is always, but I think because it broke out of that trend line, it's not gonna do any properly. If it goes back to, it's probably gonna break above that, and then maybe retest that, and then we can begin to see an upside, probably, back up there. That's probably what's going to happen. But I doubt it's going to go back up to go into this one and then come back down. If it's going up, it's going to go up. It's already come to the downside. Yep, it's already come to the downside. But that said, one other thing that can happen is price may decide to just make all of this, stick that out, make all of this one leg of a move. Then this would be the second leg of that move, so as to give us a double bottom. Yep, so that a double bottom that will reverse this back to the upside. But whatever be the case, we would we trade this based on confirmation. Right now it's acting that like it's giving us some form of pullback or what have you. There's a reject of the upside, so just be on the lookout. This may break and keep going down, but if not, look for an engulfing candle and then a pullback and then trade it back to the upside based on this thing that you found out here. Yep, I hope this thing will not get so long. Now finally, NZD USD. Again, same thing. You can see prices in that level. Came immediately, got into it. It got stuck there. As you can see, it's been going up and down. And then what happened? What did you notice? It broke out of it. Because remember what I said, that this week is going to be an amazing week because I've seen some of these trades that were stuck somewhere. So broke out of it and then dropped massively. Some of us caught that move. I think I remember talking about this move that I was going to do. I'm going to drop all the way down here. So, and it did. And then it's been trying to go. We'll be expecting this to go back up to give me that inverse head and shoulder. But what did it do? It kind of broke down. I know some people really got hit by this move to the downside because some people were trying to buy this as well. I was waiting to buy this, but I didn't. Again, I said, if I don't see this in the market, I'm not buying. If I don't see this in the market, I need to see that in the market. Then I would buy, and I will buy not to the end, but to this point to look for another drop because that will complete that head and shoulder. Then I'll now take it from there to the upside. So that is what I was waiting for, but I didn't see that move to the downside. I didn't see that move to the upside I expected, so I didn't have any reason to buy or any reason to sell because already for me, it was already here. So I wanted to see a break below this level. If you saw my other charts, this is the level I was looking at. Price needs to break out of this 0.66866. I think that was even the same one I created for the former one. So I needed to see a break out of that zone before I can begin to keep looking for a sell. But unfortunately, price didn't give any pullback, so it just broke out and then kept coming. So I didn't have any reason to sell. So right now, I'm expecting price because it's done that. It's already done its retest. So right now, I wouldn't expect. I think this is its retest. So what I should be expecting, waiting for right now, is for price to give some form of pullback now because it's already done that. It gave this pullback and drop. So what are we waiting for right now? Another form of pullback, another flag to form right here. When that forms, then we can begin to look for another downside. Yep. So right now, let's see where it's going to go to. Yep, that downside, now, I told you that's going to come back to that zone. That's why this is the measured move, by the way, this and this. So the length of that consolidation is going to be the TP. So I'm waiting for price to come all the way back to, and as you can see, it falls within that zone. Falls within that zone. That zone, that price came in and bounced off. So So that's another confirmation for us. So if price gets to that level, you should start looking at taking your profit. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this session. I don't want this to be too long, and it's a bit longer than normal. So thank you very much, everyone. If we have any questions, please just drop it on the platforms. I'm going to be sending out the charts as well on the platform so that we can also compare with what we have as well. Thank you, guys, and have a fantastic evening. God bless. Bye bye.